Knowing your audience is essential if you're going to create the right content for them and use the right keywords. There's no point in marketing a website that's not tuned for the audience you wish to attract. So, first things first, who are they? Are they a student, an engineer, a blogger, journalist, artist, musician? What characteristics do they have? Quite simply, you need to know whose attention you're trying to gain. You can't be all things to all people, so don't try. Remember, every page is an opportunity for a specific person, and that specific person needs a page created with them in mind. So you need to know what they're looking for, and then you need to give it to them. Don't make them think. Don't make it hard work for them. Help them find what they're looking for. You've got 1 to 3 seconds online to convince them to stay. If you don't work hard to keep their attention, they'll hit the back button and someone else will. What are they expecting? So when they get to your website, do they want to buy something? Are they looking to browse? Do they want to find good information, read reviews, watch a product demonstration? Do they want to call you, email you? What is it they are expecting to find on your website page? And once they're there, what is the goal of the page that they're on? What do you want them to do? So, for example, what is their conversion? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to sign up to a newsletter? Do you want them to go and read a blog? These are the goals of your pages, and attached to each goal, there will be a relevant conversion. So with your audience in mind, when they get to your page, what you don't want to do is clutter the page with things that are not relevant to the goal of that page or the conversion you want them to carry out. So let's look at some examples. To create these examples, I've used various searches. So I searched driving test help. Now, who is the audience for this? Probably male, female, from 17 to 25, probably as the most popular age, I would think. What are they looking for? I typed in driving test help, so you can safely assume that somebody was searching that they want some help with driving tests. I would think that they'd be expecting some kind of resource, videos, information. So let's look at example 1. Now these examples were quite high up in the search engine. I didn't have to look for them. So example 1 took me straight to the government website, and it focuses on the audience straight away. Practical test for cars explained. And so I soon get the gist that this is about driving tests, and obviously there's a picture there that reinforces the fact that it's about driving tests. I can see lots of links to different information. There's a video here. So there's a page full of targeted content, and at the bottom they ask for some feedback. So maybe that's the goal of the page, just to provide information and ask for feedback, and also give you some options for sharing and bookmarking. So all in all, that's a fairly good page. Example 2. Right, well, example 2, I don't consider to be a very good page for the target audience. There's just too much information, like, tweet, Google Plus One, and there's just lots and lots of options. I can't home in on anything specific. If you remember, my search was driving test help, and now I've got to root through this information to find driving test help. On some browsers you can do Control and F and actually search the page for a word or phrase. Now, I was just typing in driving test help and it doesn't exist on this page. So although it's about driving tests, it doesn't actually cover my exact phrase. And there's several ads on this page as well. So really, I don't know what the conversion is here or what the goal is really. It just looks a bit like an overwhelming amount of information. Let's look at another example. So I searched fixing a leaking tap. So thinking about the audience again, who are they? Well, I would say maybe a homeowner, somebody that does DIY, wants to sort things out themselves. They might be on a budget, so they might have a limited income. What they're looking for? Well, with this search, they're certainly looking for help to fix a leaking tap. And what would they be expecting? I imagine some kind of guidance. A video would probably be ideal, or some step-by-step information. So let's have a look at the first example. Again, these were quite far up the search engine. This was in the top results.
Here, as you can see, we've got a leaking tap. It's not that difficult to fix. Okay,
so you know, you can see there that there's a video here. This chap's going to talk me through how to fix a leaking tap, and there's a link to his website there. So even without using his own website, he's pulled in a targeted audience member and has a conversion which is to link through to his website. Now, the second example, well, this isn't as good because there's a lot of information above it that is not relevant to me. There's a lot down the side here. There's adverts on the side of it. Introduction. It's an advert after the second paragraph. It doesn't look as easy to follow. There's lots of text. So I wouldn't class this as a good page for the audience. So taking that example a stage further, maybe you're not a DIYer. Maybe you're searching for a local plumber. So the audience that might search for a local plumber might be somebody that doesn't care to do the job themselves, doesn't do DIY, just wants to find somebody locally. So example 1, well, I would say this is completely off topic because it's about gas. Example 2, well, this is a bit better because obviously, you know, the person that's coming to this page is focused on finding somebody to fix their plumbing issue. And there you have a pre-selected field. Find me a plumber near, and you can put your postcode in. I mean, personally, I think that could be clearer. And the fact that it says powered by ThompsonLocal.com suggests to me that the people I will find here will actually be people that have paid to be on this listing. So there's nothing here to actually say whether they're any good. That just links to a terrible website. Okay. Example 3. This is the best example, in my opinion, because it's looking at what the target audience is looking for, what they need. You know, it's identified who they are. Somebody basically that's looking for a tradesman, a plumber, pre-selected. So you can fill this out. That's all quite clear. I can see here that post a job, get quotes, check ratings, hire the best. And there's a clear goal here for this page, and that is to get me to fill out my details and click the next step. So if I was to do that, then that would be a conversion for the site owner. And I've got some social proof here. And the like button, +1 and tweet are further down the page because they're less important. There's even more information to read further down the page. So I think that one is the best example, whereas this one is not a good example at all, and I would bounce out of here because it's completely off topic. A bounce or bounce rate, according to Google, is basically the percentage of single page visits. So when somebody comes to your site, looks at the page and leaves straight away, that is a bounce. Now, you can read the information here if you wish, but basically what they're saying is a bounce indicates that pages aren't relevant to your visitors. Now, the reason your pages wouldn't be relevant to a visitor is if you didn't understand the visitor. So you didn't understand your audience, and then you didn't tailor the page, not your website, the page, to that visitor. And what Google is saying here is that creating compelling landing pages, now landing pages are any page that they enter your site on, and as you know from previous videos, Media Music Now only has about, I think, 12% of visitors through its homepage. The rest of the visitors are on all of the other landing pages. So Google's saying you can minimize bounce rates by tailoring your landing pages to each keyword and ad that you run. Now, just should say they're mentioning ad because they want you to also pay for their advertising, which is across the top and down the right hand side of search pages, and is also appearing at the bottom of some search pages now as well. So landing pages should provide information and services that were promised in the ad copy, and that goes for the search result as well. So if it's in the search result and you're promising them something, for, you know, when I was looking for a plumber, I didn't want to find a gas engineer, and so that was the reason I would bounce out that page. And if you think about what Google says here, it actually backs up everything I've been saying so far about the methods we use. So the more compelling your landing page is, the more visitors will stay on your site and convert. That's exactly what we're talking about, finding those long tail keywords that are specific to that page or section. And then the next stage, which we're moving on to now, is to think about the audience and tailor that page to that person. You can minimize bounce rates by tailoring landing pages to each keyword and ad that you run. Landing pages should provide the information and services that were promised in the ad copy, or search result in our case, because we won't be paying for adverts. So not only does Google agree with the methods we use, they actually encourage you to do that as well. So moving on to the next stage of this, aside from creating a spreadsheet with departments, goals, and research keyword phrases, you need to somehow put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're aiming to attract. And the best way we found of doing this is to create personas. So a persona is basically a fictional character that you create for the purpose of your website content creation. It's usually part based on real people and real experiences in your business. However, in the beginning, you're going to have to take a few guesses. And then as you speak to customers or people that are inquiring about your services, you will get more information and you'll be able to refine these personas, which will then help you refine your content. And we use our personas and add to them and refine them on a regular basis. They weren't perfect at the start, and some of them are still in development. But the important thing is you've got to get started with them. For us, they help us identify clients that we want to work with and client types that we want to attract and convert through our web pages. But they also help us to identify the type of clients that we don't want to work with. Now, that might sound a little bit strange to say that we identify people we don't want to work with. However, we can't please everybody with our service, and for that reason we've got to aim at a specific person that will benefit from our services. Some people just aren't a good fit, and quite honestly, we don't want to attract those people through our website because they don't result in business and tend to actually result in us spending time on things that aren't moving our business forward. What we find also, and you will find, is that certain parts of your website will attract certain types of people and other parts will attract completely different types of people. Some parts of your website will repel certain people, and that just comes down to the fact that you're breaking down your service into lots of different areas. So creating personas will lower your bounce rate and help your search engine ranking as well, because what it'll do is make you create content, or help you to create content that's highly specific for the audience you're trying to attract. I'll show you some of ours to give you some thoughts on how this works. This is for one department in our website. We provide an on-hold messaging service. What we aim to do with this is to attract budget-conscious small to medium-sized enterprises or sole traders that don't mind sourcing their own telephone equipment we want to basically convert people through the website, we offer a very different service to some of our competitors. So, for example, the conventional companies have sales teams that contact companies, and they'll go and create them a script, provide them with a telephone system, record the script for them, install it, and look after the customer for a 3-year period while they're in a contract, and they pay monthly. Now, what we've done, we obviously are audio specialists through Media Music Now, and we provide a service where we record the audio using their script, and then we provide them with the audio, and they can install that into their telephone system. We want to convert visitors into sales with minimal interaction. All the samples, options, prices, and help is online as much as possible. And we avoid contact with companies that want hand-holding services. So basically they want us to go to a meeting, they want us to talk through the script with them, they want us to explain all the telephone hardware systems, and we don't do any of that because that is not what we're offering here. So let's look at Persona 1. Now this is our prime target, small business owner, David. He's typically a 30 to 40-year-old business owner. Works from home quite often, multitasks, has a low budget, has his own telephone system, or doesn't mind researching the type of system he needs and sourcing it himself. His time's precious. He doesn't want to have a contract and doesn't want unexpected costs. For him, our service is ideal. Here's another persona. Now, these types of people are not a good fit for us at all, and we try to discourage spending time with them. Might sound harsh, but for the money we're charging for our service, it really isn't worth us spending time in meetings with them or on the phone. So for that reason, we tend to provide the information online and point people to it when they need it. So Richard will be part of a big company. He'll be in the marketing department. He'll be in his mid-20s, probably be ambitious and part of a team. He'll be looking for information and will want various reassurances. He'll like to phone and ask questions for some time and then maybe phone again to ask a few more questions. He'll want to have a meeting if possible. He'll want somebody to look after the telephone system for him or tell him exactly what telephone system he needs. He'll work 9 to 5 and he won't be able to make a decision without consulting his directors or wider team of people. Now, for us, this isn't a good fit because our website is focused, or this part of the website, I should say, is focused on people using the service via the website. And, the pricing structure is geared to that method of operation as well. Persona 3, a medium-sized company, might be a small team. Penny, she'll be the PA, early 30s. She'll gather information and present the information to a team. She will want related information to send to colleagues. She may call to confirm her requirements, which is fine. We don't mind that. As long as people understand what we're offering and what we're not offering, we're happy to confirm things over the phone. She'll be looking for a cost-effective solution with no contracts, and most likely has been in contact with our competitors and wants to know what the difference is between us and our competitors. I will show you our website section now, just so you can relate the personas to the service we're talking about. So first thing you'll see when we go there is that the price is visible. There you are, straight away, from £59. And if you click choose a package as a user, prices are visible down the page as well. And you'll see from the first lines, we try to hit the visitor with text that relates exactly to what we're offering. So our service is a one-time payment offering the same quality audio as contracted services at a fraction of the cost. Real voiceovers and professional production. Just download and add them to your phone system. So we've covered a few points there. No contract. It's a one-time payment. It's the same quality as the audio you get from a contract. It's real voiceovers, because that's a question we've been asked many times in the past. Professional production, you just add them to your phone system. We've also highlighted the 3-step process. So choose a package, write your script, order online. So we've made it clear that you write the script and you order online. We've referred to it being cheaper than contracted services. And further down the page, we go further on that point. We work out the average saving. And we've got text explaining that we don't provide the hardware. Where can I buy telephone systems? And it mentions stuff there. The phone number, email, not the first option, but are available. Now, we don't want people to necessarily phone us straight away, and that's why our number is not there. However, if you're looking for the answer, there is an opportunity to phone us or send a message. So it can be found. FAQs, we've already covered those, and social proof. This is quite important because people sometimes like to see that other companies have used your services. And images related to telephone use. So obviously, we've not done anything arty. We've not put a fancy picture here of something not related to telephone use. Keep it simple. People relate to it straight away. So that's an established section on our website that does very well for us. We've used all the techniques we've discussed so far on that section. We've spent lots of time working on other sections, and we have lots of new things to implement based on our work, identifying our audience and creating different persona types. To give you an example of something we're working on for a client at the moment, we are working on an air conditioning website. So we've identified the characteristics of a persona. He's called Peter. He's a car owner. He lives in Timperley in the Altrincham area. He wants a personal service, likes to support local independent business, and he's favourable to speaking over the phone, and he wants a competitive price. By creating this, we've now sort of identified a few character traits that we're going to use in creation of the website.